Okay, take two. We've managed a week, and I've done a lot of lives because I've been running an event in my Facebook group with the littles of school. We've managed to get all the way through to my last live of the week, and then we had an appearance from Monty asking for a snack because he hasn't had a snack for half an hour. As you will all know, understand, love, and appreciate if you have littles at home too. So, as I said, we are going to dive into Venus, Venus energy, all about values, which is about what you hold dear and important to you, and it's more than that because they end up being that is what you stand for, and it shapes decisions, it shapes the way that you feel about things, it shapes the way that you behave and be and do and act, and that shapes the way that you are and become. So absolutely relevant on all things passion, purpose, and power, and transforming your life to have more of that so that you are able to achieve your highest and wildest, deepest desires and dreams. Because you're capable, we're all capable, it's within us all. You wouldn't have the dream, you wouldn't have that feeling, you wouldn't have that calling if it wasn't meant for you, and only you have it the way that you do. So it's there to taking, but what gets in the way is this ego and our little self that is trying to keep us safe. So it is doing its job, but something got lost along the way, lost in translation. And being bigger and more authentically you, being bigger in terms of bigger of yourself, more you, is associated in our minds, in our deepest subconscious, that if that's at risk, that other people won't like it, that we're going to be excluded and isolated and ostracized, etc., then let's not go there. Let alone any other limiting beliefs that we've got. So we've got limiting beliefs and we've got fears, change, all of those things are the big powerhouses in your subconscious to put on the brakes and to stop you going as far as you can, as far as you're capable of, as far as you actually want and desire. And it's just a case of knowing what they are, putting them in the spotlight so they're not in the shadows, and then working compassionately with yourself, because it's still you that's trying to keep you safe, and how you can then go about actually stepping forward stronger and more powerfully, more authentically, more aligned to you. So that is what we're talking about. So good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Karina Rick. I am a celestial coach, and I help women achieve a life of alignment and authenticity. And what that really means is that it's changing the world, because the more women that feel that they can be themselves, the more that they share their strengths, their powers, their gifts and talents, then the better the world will be. And if you are one such woman who is looking to do more of what she is capable of, but for all of the reasons we've just talked about, probably a shed load more, then that's holding you back, then get in touch, and you can follow in the links wherever you're watching. It would be an absolute privilege and pleasure to work with you to help you ignite that spark that is still there, a little ember, but we can get that to be something quite magnificent, because you, my darling, are magnificent and worth every single piece of that dream and destiny that you have. So Venus, goddess of love and abundance, values and worth, self-worth. And what I wanted to really sort of bring to your attention today, in the context of that journey to your North Star, your soul path, your soul journey, to bring into fruition everything that you are capable of and more, is that you need to know what is important to you. You need to know what your values are. And because they are deeply held, they are part of that subconscious being, and they are things that they're just important to you. They're your potentially your non-negotiables, your boundaries. And and sort of asking what they are, if there's a difference between you personally and professionally, which is totally okay, that there's no right or wrong there. Just being aware of what they are. And further into that, it's, I help my clients, especially through the Celestial Circle group coaching and then some kind of program. Get all the information. I'll put that in the feed. Is it's about really stepping into what is you, what you stand for, your brand, what makes you you. Because if you want to do more of you, what makes you you is something that we need to really lean into. And part of the outcome of burning out, or even through the process of burning out, we're losing connection to ourself and our soul, kind of being numb to being alive. That really core you, your deep, like I said, your deepest desires, what's important to you. That kind of gets eroded, or I said muted. We get out of tune. We're not in tune with it. It's out of tune for us. It's just then white noise. We don't hear or feel what it is that is important to us. So really just spending a couple of moments getting reconnected to that is always going to be a useful and worthwhile practice for anyone wanting to step into our feminine power. But I wanted to highlight, so first, definitely acknowledging what are they, and are they different for different parts of your life, and how do you actually live your life by them? Because they do weave into your passion, your purpose, and power, and they are a part of your identity. And if you are building a business or a personal brand, even in a career perspective, everyone has a brand, by the way. We all have a brand, whether you've been working or not, doesn't matter. And if you haven't been working on it, maybe think about what I've just said. We've all got a brand, and it is actually crucial in our ultimate success. And whether you're talking sort of esoteric, and if you're first time you're tuning in, and I'm talking about highest expression of self and following true north. If this is the first time and that's a little bit alien to you, I come from a corporate background, over 2 decades in corporate, talking about high performance and creating an environment where people can thrive. You need to know what it is that's going to be your differentiator, how anyone goes about being the best what they do. There's nothing inherently different from one person to another when it comes to how they're made up, how they're set up for success. It's what people do with understanding things like personal brand, if we're going to label it in a corporate kind of bracket, and your values and what you stand for, if we're talking sort of more in a more engaging kind of way, more human kind of way. So know what you stand for, and the stronger what you stand for, the better, and live by it. And I say that because part of those reasons why we're not able to step into our truest self is for those fears you mentioned about why we don't. That fear of being vulnerable and being seen as different, then potentially being judged, and then potentially being isolated. Those are real fears that are wired deep. It was bad to not be part of the tribe millennia ago. That truly would have risked our survival. So that has been hardwired into our psyche, and why we don't like it if we think or feel we're about to be isolated. So we do everything we can to not be in that position. Truth is, now you are not at risk of not surviving. It's not life-threatening in the modern world, to not be liked by everyone. You have the opportunity to be in more than one tribe. That wasn't the case way back then on the prairie. And the truth is that won't actually kill you. Feeling isolated, we talked about this in in Stars and Shadows this week, it does have an impact on your immunity. So feeling that isolation will have a physiological response, and over time that's not great. But in the moment, and doing that one thing that at risk of perceived risk of feeling isolated is then also actually going to give you more fuel. It's going to sort of catapult you beyond to then actually be more yourself. And therefore, life is then more easeful. So it's kind of getting over a barrier. Values then, so standing in what they are, knowing what they are, standing in them, making sure that people know what you stand for, crucial to your ultimate success. And there's questions around, being in the right tribe, if that's difficult for you to do. That's a bit of a rabbit hole I could absolutely speak to for a lot longer, but I'm just going to keep to time, about another 10 minutes on this topic. So absolutely, if you're hearing what I'm saying that's resonating with you, but you do actually want to go down that rabbit hole, then message, and we'll do it offline, because I appreciate there is some value for some of you in understanding that a bit more detail. But really, what I want to say is that understanding what your values are, standing for something, drawing the parallel with your values and your brand, how people perceive you, is important to your ultimate success. And then what I wanted to say, and so the next level in depth of this conversation, is that people will see what your values are by what you do. You'll demonstrate your values by what you do. What you don't do, so what you sacrifice, indicates your belief system. And that doesn't run contra to your values, it's just deeper. So sometimes they will be one and the same thing, and you can really sort of easily align them, a belief system and a value. But sometimes also beliefs are I guess deeper and more entrenched than values. So in our subconscious, we have our belief system, which comes from all of the experiences that we've ever had, consciously or otherwise. And that's what then sort of ultimately guides us, because ultimately our subconscious guides what we do. 95% of the actions we take are driven by our subconscious mind. So everything that's happened to us is stored, and that then shapes the stories, the belief systems that we tell ourselves. And that's where things like limiting beliefs come from. So understanding what we don't do, what we sacrifice, that's a way of putting a lens on our belief systems. Because it's one thing to say that, oh, you've got a limiting belief on that. It's okay when it's as obvious as, oh, I haven't got time to do X, Y, Z. I haven't got time to go to the gym. That isn't limiting belief. But when it's a little bit more stealth, because they are stealth, they can be super stealth ninjas of your subconscious, these belief systems. So spending some time asking yourself, or being conscious of and aware of, self-aware of the things that you don't do, and sort of then follow that trail towards a belief system. So the example I always give, it's a little bit, tiny bit facetious, and it's not there to to go too deep on, because it's superficial, but it shows a belief system, not necessarily a limiting belief. Depends on how far you want to go with it. But for example, if we were having dinner and there weren't enough roast potatoes to go around, then I would make sure that everyone else has them before I have mine. Okay, so that's a sacrifice of me for my own roast potatoes. Now that's inherently what I think every parent would do, but it shows the belief system that everyone else needs to be fed before you do. I'm not getting into the two things, the Simon Sinek about leaders eat last going through my mind, and there's also putting on oxygen masks first to help others, right? So it's not to get too judgy or read too much into the specific example I've given you, but it is a really good way of illustrating that there was something that I did with a sacrifice, something I didn't do or I didn't have based on a belief. Now, that belief might be 100% sound. So that's not the bit that I want to challenge. What I want you to do is give you an insight into being more aware of what you don't do. Because we talk a lot about what you do, but then there's a lot of magic in what you don't do. And being aware of that is secret sauce territory. And then being even more aware of why that might be the case, where that comes from, that's going to illuminate a belief system for you. Now, in of itself, that belief system may or may not be limiting, but it will give you more and more vision, more luminosity into the shadows, because this is stuff that you don't think about. They're so inherent, so like I said, deep and subconscious, that we don't think about them. But knowing where you have a belief system, yeah, and you can use it in a positive way. So I've met, I talk a lot about limiting beliefs because that is what is holding people back. But there's equally, why is something so important to you and how you can then use that to craft a story, or how you can create and engage, how you can create engagement with people, how you create connection, how you foster and cultivate connection with people, because that's then something that is like, foundational for you. And understanding and being with in and around people that have a shared belief system is always going to spark something that's fueling for you. It's always going to be energizing. So like I said, it's not to get drawn on whether the belief system is right or wrong at this stage. You will know as different things come up for you as to whether it's that belief system is holding you back or not. But then if it's something that's not holding you back, then is that part of your story? Is that part what is interesting? Is that what people really want to know about you? Is that is that part of your magic mix, the blend that you bring to what you do? That does make it unique to you, because everything that shaped you is unique to you. Therefore, your belief systems at their rawest nature are founded in something that's unique. And so really fascinating, and like just another layer of self-awareness, which is so important. That's where you get the mindfulness. It's where you get to understand, whether you're reacting and responding. And if you want to change something, you want to go in a different direction, you're aspiring to be more you, and less, you want to be more authentic and less what everyone else wants you to be, finding that freedom, then knowing who you are, and sending that message yourself that you're worth listening to, that you're worth paying attention to, you're worth caring and nurturing. That in of itself is important and so worthy and perfect for Friday, Venus Day, day of love and abundance and self-worth and value. So there's a lot there, as always. This is big stuff. Deceptively simple to start with. All we're asking here is just to think about what you're not doing, and where does that lead you? But oh my gosh, potent stuff, as always. So I shall leave you on that note. I shall be back on Monday for day 20 of 21 days to transform your life through stepping into your passion, purpose, and power. As always, an absolute pleasure. The fourth P, absolute pleasure to be with you today. And if you've got any questions, then absolutely message me. Look out for updates coming out today on how you can join the Celestial Circle. Truly something special. And yeah, there's not much like it out there. If you are looking to step into your power, live a life that's aligned to you, change the world as you go, you share abundantly, your gifts and talents and be richly rewarded for it, then look out for posts on social media from me all about the Celestial Circle. And on that note, take care, have a good end to the week and a great weekend. Take care.